Yaffee program on WVNN.
So for literally like a month on this show, I was saying I don't see how a deal can be made with Iran. I don't understand what we expect them to do to say that's going to satisfy us. I would have Victoria Coates on, other people on, and they would say, no, a strike is probably coming because we can't make a deal with them. The opportunity is there. We have this massive military buildup. And then for some stupid reason on Friday, I get on the show and I'm like, I'm starting to think this isn't going to happen. Before then, I never said that. Friday, I say that because it just seemed like, I don't know, like if it was going to happen, it would have already happened. And maybe Trump was trying to find an off-ramp. Now, it could still be true that Trump was trying to find an off-ramp, but the Iranians just would not give him one. That being said, it was like Trump was listening to the show. And it was like Trump was like, oh, Yaffee doesn't think I'm going to do it, does he? And then he orders the strike right after that. So, yeah, obviously that is the latest news, breaking news over the weekend that we have ordered military strikes against Iran. The Ayatollah has been killed. Most of the leadership of Iran has been killed by us and the Israelis. Also, unfortunately, there have been 4 U.S. service members who were killed as well. So we'll go over all the latest details on this. It's going to be the main topic throughout the show. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We'll get to some of the Alabama leadership's take when it comes to this during the Alabama bullet points. At the bottom of the hour, we'll speak about this with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Daily News, also hosts Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Beyond the Iran situation, we'll also talk about the latest going on in the legislature. Still a lot going on when it comes to Alabama news and politics. Later on this hour, I'll start the Sunday news show's recap a little bit early, and you can imagine what the big topic there is. Got to play some takes from Republicans on this, but also Democrats from the Sunday News Talk show. So we'll get to that. At the top of the next hour, though, we're going to speak one segment with Christopher Reed, who is host of the Daily Controversy. And that's because the big announcement starts today. We announced it on the show Friday, or Thursday, actually, that Christopher Reed, his show has moved 2 to 4 p.m., which is great. So afternoon drive, going to be Christopher Reed. So we'll talk to him about that, what he's going to talk about on the show, everything else. And Walker is here as well. She's going to do What's Trending later on. Walker, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I got to go to IKEA this weekend.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot you were going to. So I want you to save that. We'll talk about that possibly during What's Trending.
Okay.
But I do want to know all about that. That's. Let me just have one question real quick. Was it busy?
Yes. There was a line.
Yeah, I could imagine. Okay, I could imagine. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Let me give you guys the latest. Right now we have when it comes to the Iran strikes. Apparently, according to U.S. officials, this is according to Fox News here, the U.S. is continuing to build up forces in the Middle East as Operation Epic Fury continues. Now, the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Dan Kane, confirmed that earlier this morning. Now, Kane made the statement during a press conference updating the public on operation's progress. He said the U.S. commander for the operation, Admiral Brad Cooper, has consistently received new assets throughout the operation against Iran. Said he doesn't want to talk specifics, but there you go. Pete Hegseth weighed in as well. Apparently, the latest news is Khamenei's wife was killed after the Saturday strike as well. Not just Khamenei the Ayatollah, but his wife, top leadership. Let's see. Is there anything else breaking? I did want to get to the latest because unfortunately, okay, this is another thing I wanted to get to here real quick. It says, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth addressed the nation this morning amid Operation Epic Fury, saying the U.S. didn't start the conflict with Iran, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. He says Ali Khamenei's regime was building fleets was building fleets of ballistic missiles and drones in an attempt to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Now, the war secretary went on to dismiss accusations that the attack of on Iran is an endless war. He's saying he does not expect that. Now, the other situation we had this morning breaking, I'm trying to give you all the latest. There's a lot coming in, obviously, but apparently 3 U.S. Air Force Strike Eagles were shot down in a friendly fire incident over Kuwait late Sunday night during active combat operations tied to this. Apparently they are okay. But overall, there have been 4 U.S. service members killed in this, and that was announced yesterday. Now, I want to get to the audio here because we'll kind of go back. It was Saturday night, early Saturday morning, I believe, where President Trump first made the announcement of these strikes. So go ahead and play Trump Cut 1 for me, Walker.
Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. Lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. We sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. They attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
So that was a little bit of what Trump said after the initial strike when he made the announcement. I agree with everything he said, by the way. I do believe it is a noble mission. Now, yesterday, he also commented more on this, on the latest on this. So play Trump Cut 2 for me.
The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more. Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death.
So the question that a lot of people have is why now? The Democrats are trying to say it's an illegal war. They're going to have a hard time doing that. The fact is the precedent has been set. As commander-in-chief, he is able to do this. If Congress doesn't like what he is doing, they can vote to defund it and stop him in that way. They're not going to do that. They don't have the votes. So overall, Trump basically has the authority to do this. But why now? Well, it was not because there was an imminent threat of an attack on the U.S. It's not because there was an imminent threat that they were going to build a nuke maybe tomorrow. We took out most of their nuclear program last year. The fact is, it's just about the opportunity. Iran was weak. They were at their weakest point, and it was revealed earlier this year when thousands of people protested against the regime. The problem is the regime, through deadly force, killed thousands of their own people. Trump drew a red line, and I think Trump at the end of the day realized he could not draw that red line and then back out. That he was going to have to do something. So why over the weekend? Well, apparently Israel and the U.S. got intelligence that the top leadership, they were going to be above ground during the day, meeting together on military operations. So if they were going to strike and try to kill the head of the snake, which is Khamenei and everything else, if they were going to strike, they were going to have to do it on Saturday. They were going to have to do it when they were there. And it was a successful operation. But the fact is, really what started a lot of this, other than, yes, Iran has technically been at war with us since their founding. I mean, that's true. But the fact of all of this is in reaction to October 7th. On October 7th, Iranian proxies and Iran themselves revealed who they really are. That they were willing to do the worst kind of atrocities against the U.S. and against Israel and against allies in the Middle East. And if Iran ever got a nuclear weapon or ever was able to build up their military again, they were a threat to our allies. They were a threat to national interest and eventually a threat to us here. And so it was just too much of an opportunity to waste. And I think overall, the world will be a better place because of this. Despite what you think of Trump, despite what you think of this operation, in the big scheme of history, the world will be a better place because Trump decided to do this, and he decided to do it now. But maybe you disagree. There are some conservatives that do. Many conservatives think that this could get us bogged down in another war in the Middle East. Many conservatives don't like regime change. Many conservatives are worried about the cost, whatever it might be. I want to know what you think. You can tell me. We have our Yaffee text line, of course, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. That's the Yaffee text line brought to you by RegenesisStemCell.com. Got the Alabama bullet points coming up next. Todd Stacy at the bottom of the hour. A lot more to get to on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN. If you like Yaffee, why not show it by liking
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We're here on the Yaffee program. We're going to cover all aspects of the breaking news out of the Middle East as military strikes against Iran continue. We'll get the Alabama angle. Actually, let's go ahead and do that right now because we have those Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Mobile County Sheriff Birch claps back after social media backlash over a gang crime conviction. So Mobile County Sheriff Paul Birch sharply responded to social media criticism following the conviction of Marcus Cobbs Jr. for trafficking marijuana in connection with a criminal enterprise that is tied to violent gang activity. Now, facing backlash over the severity of the charges, Birch defended his department's investigation, stressing that the case involved large-scale organized trafficking, distribution networks, financial gains, violence, and recruitment, not just mere personal possession, which is often true with these kind of convictions. So he basically, frustrated by online comments, posted, he said, "Are you people for real?" Which is a great response. Unfortunately, a lot of them are, which is kind of sad. But he's right. Good for this conviction. Number 3, Attorney General Steve Marshall put out an op-ed saying that American farmland is a national security matter and we should act more like it. So Steve Marshall, who is Alabama's Attorney General and a U.S. Senate candidate, argues that foreign ownership of American farmland poses a serious national security threat, as adversaries could exploit it to cause food shortages, conduct bioterrorism, or spy on nearby military installations. Now, he cites data showing nearly 46 million acres, about 3.6% of privately held agricultural land, owned by foreign entities. This is as of 2024, including over 1 million acres in Alabama alone. With inadequate enforcement of the outdated 1978 Agriculture Foreign Investment Disclosure Act, allowing underreporting and no rigorous background checks. And he says China is using this to undermine us, so we should do something about it. Number 2 today, Alabama passes limits on screen use in early childhood settings. Alabama has enacted House Bill 78, known as the Healthy Early Development and Screen Time Act, which imposes new restrictions on screen use for children aged 5 and under in licensed child care facilities, publicly funded pre-K programs, and kindergarten classrooms. Now, the legislation, sponsored by Representative Gina Ross in the House, and it was done by Senator Donnie Chasteen in the Senate, prohibits all screen time, such as tablets, phones, TVs, or other devices for children under 2. For children aged 2 to 5, it directs state agencies, including the Department of Early Childhood Education, to establish age-appropriate guidelines with screen use required to be actively supervised, educational, and without passive or background exposure. Exceptions apply for children with IEPs or health plans, as well as virtual programs, and the law will take effect next year. And number 1, not too surprising here, but the Alabama federal delegation, at least the Republicans, are backing the U.S. strikes in Iran, and the Democrats are not. So, split along party lines. Not very shocking. Alabama's Republican federal delegation, this includes Senators Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville, and representatives like Barry Moore, Robert Adderholt, Dale Strong, Gary Palmer, and other Mike Rogers, voiced strong support for the strikes, condemning Iran as the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, citing its nuclear pursuits, ballistic missiles, and attacks on Americans and allies. They also praised Trump's decisive leadership and praying for U.S. troops. Now, in contrast, Alabama's Democratic representatives, including Terry Sewell and Shamari Figures, took a different stance, calling for Congress to reconvene and pass a war powers resolution to assert congressional authority over the military action and avoid escalation into a prolonged conflict. So there you go. I mean, it's crazy how partisan this gets now. So we all know if Biden did the same thing, the Democrats would have been like, oh, yeah, we support it. It's fine. The terrorist leader's out. Now, I will say this. Everyone agrees that the Ayatollah is bad. There aren't too many Democrats out there saying, oh, the Ayatollah was great. There are some, but not a lot. So at least there's some agreement on that. So we'll talk about this and more. A lot of these headlines we'll talk about with Todd Stacy next. He's with Alabama Daily News. He also hosts Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Later on in the show, we'll do the Sunday News Show's recap. Of course, Christopher Reed's going to join us as well. His new time slot, 2 to 4 p.m., that starts today here on WVNN. Right Side Radio went purely digital with Yellowhammer News, so Christopher Reed took that slot. Should be a great show, The Daily Controversy. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. We'll be back here in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Every day, excessive delays and denials from big insurers keep patients from accessing the care they need. And when care is urgent, these delays can be disastrous. These practices cost billions in wasteful spending, driving up costs for American families. But while big insurers put up barriers, America's hospitals and health systems are in your corner, navigating endless reviews and appeals to get you the care you need when you need it most. It's time to curb these harmful practices and put the focus back on patients. Brought to you by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Healthcare.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
We're back to the Yaffee program right now. I'm Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Going to read a little bit here what Senator Katie Britt said in response to the strikes against Iran. Said President Trump took decisive, necessary action against the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. Unfortunately, due to the previous administration's open border policies, Iran terror proxy groups pose a serious threat to our homeland. It is critical that we fully fund the Department of Homeland Security. We must work together to ensure that DHS has the resources it needs to keep our citizens safe and our homeland secure. DHS plays a critical role in defending against various threats to our homeland, including cyber attacks, potential retaliatory terrorism, and disinformation campaigns. And so she's basically saying we must fully fund DHS immediately right now, that the government shutdown part of it's got to end. So I want to talk more about that right now with Todd Stacy. He's with Alabama Daily News. You can read that every day at aldailynews.com. Their daily digest newsletter as well. Subscribe. It'll show up in your email inbox. And he hosts Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Todd, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Yaffee. How are you?
Doing good. So I just want to get your initial reaction. We'll definitely get into some Alabama politics as well and talk about your guests on Capital Journal, but did want to get your reaction to the strikes against Iran.
Well, I was listening to you read the statement from Senator Britt. I think she's absolutely right. That kind of sums it up. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants a prolonged war for sure. But this is a dangerous regime. They've been dangerous for 50 years. It's a long time coming. I hate that it's that way. I wish that the United States and really the world would have dealt with Iran a long time ago. But they have been allowed to fester. They've been allowed to foment terrorism, and they export terrorism, as she said, the world's largest sponsor of terrorism, and that's not even a new distinction. They were that before we ever invaded Iraq, before 9/11. And so this has been a problem for a long, long time. It got worse under the Obama administration. It got worse for the deal that they made that only made Iran more dangerous, only made them richer, only made them more willing to export terrorism. That, in my view, directly led to October 7th. And, I mean, that, of course, October 7th was carried out by Hamas, but that's absolutely an Iran proxy. So when you look at that terrorist attack that happened that day and all the things that came after it, that was Iran. And so they've reaped the whirlwind. And I have to say, I'm glad to see it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. We're going to, this is not. I'm glad to see the president is taking it pretty seriously and understands that it's not easy. But it's necessary when you're in the position the United States is.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about, the Democratic response here. Terry Sewell came out and said we need to vote on this. They're really upset. One, they think they don't like the timing. They feel like we should only have attacked Iran if they were an imminent threat. It seems obvious that they weren't necessarily an imminent threat, but this was an opportunity to finally take them out. I mean, they were at their weakest point, and all the leaders were there above ground. So it was kind of an opportunity they didn't want to waste. But what do you think about that? I mean, is Trump should he have gotten authorization from Congress first?
Well, specifically for the attacks, and I don't want to get too lost in the semantics. I'm certainly not an expert on all this, but it's my understanding that we didn't attack Iran. That attack came from Israel. Now, we assisted and provided them weaponry and all that kind of stuff, but that was not an attack by the United States on Iran. That was Israel. Now, there have been subsequent attacks, and I think that's fine. Should the president go to Congress? or authorization of military force moving forward? Maybe so, and certainly if it escalates to war. And the word war, it's like I said, it's tough to get tied up in semantics. One person's conflict is another person's war, But yes, in a normal world, we absolutely should go to Congress. But when you have, as you said, all those people in one place, all those high-ranking leaders in one place, and thank goodness for Israeli intelligence, because that's who really we have to thank for all that. You don't have a choice; you've got to go, and so I think that was fine. Now, look, if we get into a prolonged conflict, then absolutely, that's the way it works. But neutralizing a threat like that, taking out terrorists like that, in the manner they did, I'm comfortable with that being the commander-in-chief's prerogative. If it escalates, though, if it keeps going, yes, I think he needs to go to Congress.
I would assume most people in this country probably agree with you. I mean, you're right, he is commander-in-chief. They don't really want a prolonged war. I mean, that's kind of why we're taking this approach. It seems like we don't want a boots-on-the-ground war, and it seems like Trump doesn't want that either. And Israel is helping. That's actually a very good point, that when it comes to that particular strike, that was done by Israel with our help. Talking with Todd Stacy, who's with Alabama Daily News. I understand you spoke with the Senate Pro Tem recently on Capitol Journal. Guessing one of the topics that came up was the Public Service Commission. He said that bill was dead. There was a bill to try to make them appointed instead of elected. A lot of other stuff going on as well when it comes to the legislature. So what was your discussion about?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you mentioned that. I encourage folks that haven't watched to go back and watch, because it was a good sit down with Senate President Pro Tem Garland Gudger, and he explained that decision to pull the PSC bill at length and talk about what led up to this point, because there was just kind of a lot of confusion. Like, okay, where did this bill come from? Kind of out of nowhere in the middle of session. And so it was good to get some answers on that and what they want to do going forward. It's not like the issue is dead, right? The issue of energy affordability is still very much out there. And I do think there are some lawmakers, him included, that aren't really satisfied with the current setup of the Public Service Commission, at least not to respond to some of these problems. So I think the issue's still alive. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it was interesting. We kind of got into this. I said, well, it reminds me of several years ago when there was a similar move on the school board. There was a move to make the state school board appointed rather than elected. Had a lot of support in the legislature, but once it got to the ballot box, it was defeated pretty soundly. Same kind of issue. People don't like to give up their ability to elect leaders, even if it was, the intention was good. And so I said, after that vote, you saw the legislature really get more involved in school policy, right? Because they were dissatisfied with the school board not being as active as they should be. So that's where the Literacy Act came from. That's where the Numeracy Act came from. That's where a lot of these policies came from, was after that vote. So I said, could we look forward to that? Like, if you're dissatisfied with this PSC model, might we see the legislature get more involved in energy policy if that's the case, similar to that education model? And he said yes. He said that could be. So that's something interesting to watch going forward.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. People don't like to give up their opportunity to elect leaders, even if it's good intentions. Like you said, there are definitely issues with that, and with energy prices going up, people are concerned, but then you say, well, we'll just appoint them. You don't get to elect them. Some people, they don't like the idea of that. So I can understand why that would hold things up. You had mentioned, similar to education reform in the past or school board reform in the past. I do understand there are some education bills kind of making their way through the legislature, and they will this week.
Oh, big time. Look, education is really one of the biggest things the legislature does each year. This year is no different. You've got, of course, you start with the budget. The budget is going to be about $10.5 billion this year, so that's a lot of money, and we'll expect more debate on that moving forward. We've got some still in committee, like the improvement to Alabama's A through F report card bill. That's still in committee. You've got the education or outcomes-based funding bill. That's still in committee. But you still got some that have already reached the governor's desk. You know, you've got limiting of screen time for children under 5. That's a really big deal as we learn more about how these iPads and other screens are really not good for kids in those early grades. That's a really big deal. You've got the Charter School Finance Authority. That's big for the public charter schools in our state, letting them get more financing. So, yeah, just a ton of bills that are either in the process or still awaiting a vote. I encourage everybody to go read Trish Crane's story. Just go to aldailynews.com. There are more than 150 education-related bills that are before the legislature right now. We're trying to track all of them. We track the highlights, so go read where all those bills are from Trish.
Todd Stacey is with Alabama Daily News. As he mentioned, you can see kind of the latest details at aldailynews.com. Real quick, I understand that Tommy Tuberville's been meeting with the leadership in the Republican Party in the legislature because, I mean, he's going to be our next governor. It seems like that's what's going to happen. So they're kind of talking about what that's like when he becomes governor.
Yeah, and that was, I guess that was last week. It's all running together. Yaffee, I got to be honest.
Oh, yeah, this time of year I get it. Yeah.
No, he came by the caucus, and it was actually an interesting time for him to stop by because there was a little bit of caucus turmoil in that there was, you had that secret recording of the speaker that they tried to make him look bad. Just a couple of members that tried to make him look bad and everything. And there were, you've seen some sniping at the speaker online, some of these random websites. And so it was interesting because, Tuberville, who, as you mentioned, is in the catbird seat to become the next governor, really made a point to support Speaker Ledbetter. Put his arm around him, put some posts out on social media saying, "This is my guy. I can't wait to work with him when I'm governor." And so that really dealt a blow to Speaker Ledbetter's critics, however few they may be, and quelled whatever dissatisfaction there was in that Republican caucus. I don't think you'll see much of that sniping going on anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point. Todd Stacey is with Alabama Daily News, Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. You can get Capital Journal if you missed the episode live. Well, it's on YouTube and anywhere podcasts are available, and at aldailynews.com. Todd, appreciate it. As always, we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Yaffee, be good.
All right, if you want to weigh in, we have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNM. We're going to start the Sunday News Show's recap in the next segment. Christopher Reed's going to join us at the top of the hour as well. You're listening to the Yaffee Program.
The Yaffee Program.
Welcome back to the Yaffee Program right here on Stock 770 AM, 92.5 FM WVNN. You can always listen online as well at WVNN.com or the iHeartRadio app or the WVNN app or any of your smart devices. Since we're going to have Christopher Reed join us in the next segment, figured I would start this early today, so let's do it right now. We have the Sunday News Show's recap. Recapping the Sunday news talk shows so you can take Sunday off. Yeah, that's my public service to you. Dale Jackson likes to watch Hallmark movies. I just assume. I know that some people like to watch reruns of Gunsmoke or something. Some of you probably going to church. That's what you should do. You don't have to worry about catching up the latest of the news. You get it the next day by me, and it's free to you to listen. What can I say? I'm talking about Meet the Press, Fox News Sunday, other Sunday news talk shows. I want to play some cuts here of Senator Ted Cruz, who was on CBS Face the Nation, kind of talking about the latest when it came to Iran, and made a good point when it comes to the Trump presidency and why he believes this was a righteous move by Trump. Go and play Ted Cruz cut 1 for me, Walker.
President Trump's decision to launch this decisive action against Iran is the single most important decision of his presidency. I think he laid out powerfully and effectively why he is taking this action. He is taking this action because the government of Iran is a profound and malign influence. They have been the leading state sponsor of terrorism for 47 years. Mm-hmm. They have, over that time, killed nearly 1,000 Americans. They provide more than 90% of the funding for Hamas. They provide more than 90% of the funding for Hezbollah. The Iranian Ayatollah was, until yesterday, actively trying to murder the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I spent the entire day with President Trump on Friday, right before he launched these attacks. He and I discussed this at length on Friday. My counsel to him was that the Iranian regime has never been weaker, that it was teetering, and now was the time. My advice was, do not miss this opportunity. I think the president has acted boldly. He's acted decisively, and Iran no longer being led by a theocratic, murderous dictator, that makes America much, much safer.
And see, that really is the debate. Really on both sides. There are some people who believe that it really doesn't help us at all. It's not really in our interests. But I think it is. I mean, they were developing ballistic missiles. He talked about terrorist proxies. Imagine if they did get a nuke. They don't have to bomb us. They could just bomb one of our allies. They could bomb Europe. They could bomb the Saudi oil fields. Imagine what that would do, not just to them, but to us. Obviously, it's international interest. But he's right, too, and he was very honest there. This was not about an imminent threat. It was about an opportunity that cannot be wasted, and it was about Trump's red line. And I think if you're president, you have an opportunity to do this because Iran is weaker than ever. It's hard to pass that up. It really is. Go on and play Ted Cruz cut 2 for me.
Why not choose diplomacy?
Because the diplomacy was an abject failure. The Iranians approached the diplomacy with arrogance, with absolute hubris. They said they would not stop enriching. No matter what, they were going to continue to enrich uranium. They would not discuss zero enrichment. They claimed a right to enrich uranium in underground bunkers with no supervision. As President Trump said on Friday when he was with me in Texas, his line was zero enrichment, and the Iranians refused to discuss it. They also refused to discuss their proxies. They refused to discuss Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. Mm-hmm. And President Trump understood that the Iranian, quote, negotiation was just a stall tactic, and that the only response, my advice to him, I said, there's only one deal you should accept, and it's the deal that you offered Maduro, which is if you want to leave and flee the country, you can do so. Anything else is unacceptable. And Khamenei made his choice.
Well, it's kind of funny. He said that what Iran was doing was a stall tactic, which it has been for years. I mean, it has. But it's kind of funny. It seems like Trump kind of beat them at their own game here, because it's starting to seem like, maybe I'm wrong, but that what Trump was doing with these negotiations was also a stall tactic. That he was kind of stringing them along. He might have known for weeks now he was going to do this. We've had a military buildup for a few weeks. It took some time. So it could be that Trump kind of beat them at their own game, stalled them so we could get this strike done successfully, which so far it's been very successful. So we'll talk more about this with Christopher next. And also he's going to talk about his new show. It's the Daily Controversy, but it's moving to 2 to 4 p.m. on WVNN. So stay with us here on the Yaffee program. Back in just a moment.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN. The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
So while the left was out there busy calling Trump Hitler, at every moment they try to call Trump Hitler, Trump supporters Nazis. While the left was trying to do that, those in the propaganda press, Trump was busy helping to take out an actual Hitler in Iran, the Hitler of Iran, the Ayatollah. So throw that out there. If you want to really make a comparison to Hitler, the Ayatollah is a much better comparison, and he is now dead because of President Trump. So we'll talk more about the operation in Iran here on the Yaffee Program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. And joining me on the show right now, Christopher Reed, and he is host of The Daily Controversy, and he's coming on today because he's got big announcement today. Well, we announced it last week, but his show is now moving 2 to 4 p.m., The Daily Controversy, Chris, and I know you're pretty pumped up about it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I mean, we're going to have the same great show. We're going to bring some really new, interesting segments, have some more Alabama-centric stuff, especially because this is an amazing midterm year. Tuberville's basically got it locked up. You know, Barrymore is in the heated Senate primary. So there's just so many things that we can talk to the listeners about, as well as some of these Supreme Court cases. One thing we're going to talk about today is there's one coming down the pike, which if it comes down soon enough, which I don't know that it will, Alabama would likely be a 7 out of 7 Republican House state, just like Massachusetts is fully Democrat. In fact, that ruling, if it comes out soon enough, could actually tilt the balance of power in the midterms. So even if the Democrats won, as far as the overall popular vote in the House, if we switched in the red states, we would easily win this thing, even if they beat us. Which people may say is unfair, but I don't really care. I want Republicans to win. So it's going to be great. We got you on as our first guest. We're going to have Dale on. We got some other great guests coming on. The entire week is packed, and it's, again, very exciting. I wanted that afternoon slot for a long time. It finally worked out, and we're excited to do it. Almost as excited as Trump is to destroy Iran after wanting to do that for like 20 years. So leads us in.
Well, that's true. And I do want to talk to you about Iran. You do bring up an interesting thing, though, about the Supreme Court. So you're talking about the redistricting stuff where they could possibly throw out parts of the Voting Rights Act and everything else. So you think that the Republican majority in Alabama, they'll respond to that by redrawing the districts to draw out every Democrat. So usually they draw one Democratic district for Terry Sewell. Then you had the ruling before where it became 2. You think in reaction to that, if this kind of gets thrown out by the Supreme Court, they're going to go hard and make it all Republican.
Yeah, every Democrat state's already done that. I mean, Virginia just theirs is going to be overturned because they didn't follow their own constitution, so that's a little bit messy. But they will be able to do that for 2028, not 2026. I'm going to tell you it's kind of an inside baseball prediction there. But yeah, every red state's going to have to do that. Because the Voting Rights Act, part of it's like you have to have racially based districts, but the whole point of, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and then these Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, was that nobody would be discriminated against. Not that we would discriminate against this group for the other group. I think the court's going to rule that as long as you can show that this is all politics, which you can easily do, because every political party that's in power of a state wants to have power, and it has nothing, and that doesn't have anything to do with race. So as long as you show, look, we want to have 7 out of 7 Republican districts, you can even, it'll be fine. And I think the court's going to go that route because if you look at the affirmative action ruling from a couple of years ago and some of these major question doctrines case, I think that's where they're likely to take it. And if that happens, depending on when it happens, Republicans could potentially shift 15 to 18 seats in red states. The only question is whether that's going to happen in now or whether it's going to happen in 28. And it all depends on when they're going to get that majority opinion out.
So you're going to talk about that. You're starting a legal segment, right, for your show?
Well, I'm a retired attorney, so I don't give any legal advice, but what we'll do is like the most interesting cases that are going to affect people in Alabama and people around the nation. We may bring on some attorneys as well. If we do have some legal type questions, I'm going to bring them on, maybe ask some questions that viewers send in as well. But that's going to be sort of the focus of our Legally Speaking segment. Things like this, And then, we will bring some, attorneys that are currently practicing to, answer some of those questions as well.
Legally speaking, I like it. What time are you going to do that during the show?
That's going to be 4 segments, so about 2:48. We're going to be doing that, and then we're going to do
cool.
We're going to do kind of like a, the 7 things you should be talking about today. It's really basically a headlines thing for Alabama. 3 big stories that we look at every single day. That's going to have about 3:30 every day, kind of like your Alabama bullet points in that vein. But we're going to focus on some really interesting Alabama stories that people may or may not have heard of, and really excited to do that as well.
Speaking with Christopher Reed, we're talking about the fact that his show has now moved 2 to 4 p.m., and that starts today. We're also talking about ramifications of a possible Supreme Court decision. But, of course, we got to talk about Iran. Trump orders the strikes over the weekend. What do you think?
Well, it's a good day if you're in the bomb-making industry, so I think it's great for Huntsville. We make a lot of bombs, so it's great news for us. And I think we need to do this. Iran is weak. They've been weak since we destroyed most of their nuclear infrastructure. We didn't destroy all of it, but we destroyed most of it. And now Israel and about, 7 or 8 Arab nations have joined us. So we started out with 2, but then Iran was incredibly stupid, and they attacked all of their Arab allies. And now they're like, okay, well, Saudi's going to bomb them. Other countries, Kuwait's going to bomb. I mean, everybody's going to be dropping bombs and helping us out, and it's all their fault. And this is the time to do it. We actually have the ability to take out the regime, to weaken them. We can decimate them in every way. And my theory is, this was never going to work for, in Afghanistan because the people never wanted it. But if you look at polling in Iran, you got 70 to 89%, depending on the poll, that want to overthrow the government and have something like a Western democracy. And unlike Afghanistan, they actually did have a Western-style democracy for about 50 years before before the Islamic regime overthrew the Shah. So again, these are highly educated people, very different than in Afghanistan. Persians have some history with this. They want this, and they've already proven they're willing to fight for it. They lost 32,000 lives a few weeks ago. So again, they are not the type to sit comfortably and not try to take over the government. If we can weaken the IRGC enough, which we obviously are going to do, they can take their government back. Will it be messy? Will it be some infighting? Of course there will be. But I honestly think Iran will have a functioning new government that is pro-Western within, 5 to 6 months.
So you got Democrats out there and then a couple Republicans, the Rand Pauls and Thomas Masseys of the world, saying this is an illegal war, that Trump should have first gotten authorization from Congress. What do you think about that?
Well, this is really interesting. So so we had 47 presidents. Okay, technically there's 40. Well, you can say 40. Anyway, more than 40 presidents of the 47 presidents have done military strikes without congressional authorization. So I think it's only 2 or 3 that haven't. This has been done since the beginning. You do not need Congress to do military strikes. You never have done it. There's been well over 2,000 military strikes since the War Powers Act of 1973. Every single president, every single one, has done military strikes without congressional authorization. The law says that you have to notify Congress, and that if you go longer than 90 days, you have to get authorization from Congress, but you don't need authorization for any, short-term military strikes that are under 90 days. The War Powers Act of 1973 is clear, and even that act, if it was challenged, I think Trump, you would win at the court, but it's not going to be 90 days, so it's kind of a moot issue. So everyone who thinks they're bright and like, oh, this is illegal, they are the stupidest people I've ever met in my entire life. It's like they have no understanding of history. They don't realize every president that's done this. Yes, Congress has the power to declare war, but then you ask them, okay, well, how many wars has Congress declared? The last time we declared war was about 41, 42 for World War II. We haven't done it since then. So again, this is completely lawful. It's not even debatable whether it's lawful. The Supreme Court's already ruled on this many, many times. So yes, it's lawful. I don't care what they're saying. They can argue that unicorns exist if they want to. It doesn't make it so.
Okay. I mean, they argue that men could be women, women could be men, all of that stuff. So, that becomes a problem as well. Christopher Reed, host of The Daily Controversy, his new show starts. Daily Controversy's been on WVNN for a while, but it's moving now 2 to 4 p.m., which is really, really cool. And that is going to be today. I see he got cut off. So we'll see if he reconnects in a moment. I do want to say, though, about the War Powers Act, about congressional authority, there are two different ways to look at it. There are some who say that in order to do a strike like this, Congress must declare war. That's why it's in there. But there's another kind of understanding of this where, no, as commander-in-chief, Donald Trump can do a military strike, and then Congress can agree to that by declaring we're in a state of war. But really, if Congress didn't like it, their authority under this would be to defund it,
yes.
Which, of course, I don't think they're going to do. So when you talk about how the Supreme Court could possibly overrule some of that, it's because under the Constitution, Trump is commander-in-chief. So the only authority Congress really has is terms of the power of the purse. And if they didn't want to do it, they could defund it, which probably is not going to happen.
They're not going to do that. Plus, in 1983, the Supreme Court ruled he could actually veto that because there was some discussion that Congress could pass it without the veto. So they could actually pass it. They could pass it majorities in both houses, and he would veto it, and it would be completely illegitimate. So there's really nothing Congress can do unless you get a lot of Republicans to defy Trump, which is never going to happen. So basically, he's going to carry this out. But this, I can almost guarantee it's not going to last more than 4 weeks. If you look at sort of what the plan is, this is a 4-week engagement, and then it's going to be largely in the Iranians to deal with it.
Christopher Reed, host of The Daily Controversy. His new time is 2 to 4 p.m. That starts today. And for some reason, you made me your first guest. I mean,
yeah,
I'm honored. Wow.
We wanted to save the best for last, so you get to go first, Yaffee.
Okay. If someone's been talking with Dale Jackson today, I understand that. Chris, appreciate you coming on. I'll talk to you later, my friend.
All right, sounds good.
All right, there you go. If you want to react to any of that, we have our Yaffee text line. As you know, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. I am Alabama's Truth Czar. This is Huntsville's Disinformation Board. Glad you've joined the show today. By the way, it is Monday in the 10 o'clock hour, so you know what that means. Another segment now of the Sunday News Show's recap. Recapping the interviews, the highlights from those Sunday news talk shows. Talking CBS Face the Nation, NBC's Meet the Press, Fox News Sunday, and others. Because, I mean, you don't have to watch it. Well, why would you? You enjoy your Sunday. I give you the day off. You just get the highlights the next day. My public service to you. You're welcome. I want to play the cuts now. Earlier, we played some cuts of Ted Cruz on CBS Face the Nation. I want to play the Democratic side because, as we were talking about with Christopher Reed in the last segment, you have this whole issue of they're calling it an illegal war. Now, some are saying that, they kind of support it, but they don't like how it's been done or whatever. They're trying to find a way to be against it. But go ahead. We'll start with Adam Schiff. He was on ABC this week. Now, remember, he is in a competition with Chuck Schumer to be the slimiest member of the U.S. Senate. He talked about this. Go ahead and play the Adam Schiff cut for me, Walker.
No, you're right about the Ayatollah. He was a brutal dictator. This is a murderous regime. But at the same time, it posed no imminent threat of attack to the United States. They had not reconstituted their nuclear program, which the president just months ago said had been obliterated. They do not have ballistic missiles capable of hitting the United States. There was simply no basis to go in with this massive military campaign with the goal of regime change. And the concern here is that we have unleashed factors in the region now that we cannot control. If the Iranian people do rise up, as the president has called upon them to do, maybe they're successful. Maybe they get slaughtered in reliance on the president's implicit promise that we will be there to help them. Maybe the regime just takes a new form, an equally depraved regime, and then what have we accomplished? Maybe our service members are killed, as the president pointed out that risk, and I hope and pray they remain safe, both those that are carrying out the mission and those that are in bases in the region. But the president has made no case to the American people. He sought no authorization from Congress. We need to return ASAP and take up a vote on the War Powers Resolution Tim Kaine, Rand Paul, Senator Schumer, and I have introduced. But this case has not been made, and we just can't predict the consequences of this action. One thing is certainly true, though. The president broke his promise to the American people of no more regime change wars, broke his promise to focus on bringing down the cost for American families. There's nothing in this action that's going to improve the lives of Americans.
No, that last part is just completely absurd. Iran and the Ayatollah not existing, and that regime not existing in Iran, obviously would help the lives of Americans. A peaceful Middle East helps the lives of Americans. Our national security, it'll eventually help the world economy. So I just don't buy into that. Now, it's interesting. You could say, okay, we don't know the ramifications of this. That's an interesting point. But really, I did not hear this point from Democrats when Obama bombed Libya, or Syria for that matter. There was an argument to be made that, well, you don't want to start bombing Libya because who's going to take its place? This is a little bit different, though. Iran is not Libya. There is a chance that Iran could move to be a more westernized, peaceful, not terroristic country. Now, we'll have to see. There are always risks involved, and this is kind of one of the other problems when you have, he sounds like Biden there. I mean, eventually, you got to take authoritative, dramatic action to stop a rising threat from an enemy. You got to do it. If we constantly have this, well, we don't know what's going to happen now, you're just never going to get anything done. But he's not the only Democrat who said this. I know Senator Tim Kaine as well was on Fox News one day, basically said something similar. Go ahead and play the Tim Kaine cut for me.
Senator, at this moment, do you think the president is in compliance with the law?
Absolutely. He is not. This is an illegal war, Shannon, because the representative cited a statute, but he neglected to mention the Constitution. And the Constitution can't be changed by statute. The Constitution says no declaration of war without Congress. The president has called this war against Iran. The president can act to imminently defend the United States against imminent attack if that happens without congressional approval, needing later ratification by Congress. But if you're going to initiate war, you need Congress. The president not only did not come to Congress to seek a debate or vote, he acted without even notification to the vast majority of us. This is an illegal war. I have a war powers resolution.
You can stop it right there, Walker.
This week.
There you go. I mean, it says it's an illegal war. It's not. As Christopher Reed pointed out, the precedent here is that a president can do this, and I don't think there's going to be much of a fight about that. Really, a lot of this is just posturing. Going to move on to what's trending. Coming up next here on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you've joined the show. If you missed any of the show live, a couple ways to find it so you can listen later because you don't want to miss anything. You can subscribe to the podcast on our website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcasts, or like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. So Walker is here once again, so time for another edition of What's Trending with Walker.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market because they always have the latest trending in furniture. When I say that, I'm talking nice furniture. I'm talking the top brands. This is stuff that you're an adult now. Grow up a little bit, get some nice furniture, put it in your home, in your living room, so you can be comfortable. And when you have guests over, you actually seem like a responsible adult. What can I say? So go to Coleman Furniture Market, worth the drive, in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. You can see some of the latest stuff. They get in new stuff all the time. Their showroom is gigantic. I got to tell you. So go like their Facebook page or follow them on Instagram to see some of the stuff they get in, because it's like new stuff all the time. And if you want to find out more about what they have for you, go to ColemanFurnitureMarket.com, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. And when you go, get some great furniture and do it for a great price. Let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Walker, what is number 5 today?
Number 5 today, tomorrow, IHOP has a celebration for National Pancake Day, where it means you can get a free short stack of pancakes. It's their 21st anniversary of doing this. And every dollar donated on March 3rd, tomorrow, helps provide at least 10 meals to feed local Feeding America food banks.
Okay, so it's also for a good cause.
Yes.
Nice. You get something great, you celebrate an anniversary, and it's for a good cause. Now, got to say, it's been a while since I've been to an IHOP. I'm pretty sure their pancakes are pretty good. Are you a pancake person?
I prefer waffles.
Okay, well, they probably have waffles there. I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do. Now, when you get a waffle, do you get like a flavored waffle, like blueberry waffles or something? Or do you like just a regular waffle? Do you put syrup on it? I mean, what is the ideal Walker waffle? Walker waffles, I like that. But what is the ideal Walker waffle?
The ideal Walker waffle is a Belgian waffle with like strawberries and little whipped cream on top, and then syrup.
That sounds good.
It's so good.
I actually like to put eggs sometimes on my waffles. I'll put you cook like a over easy egg, put it right on top.
I will say I love like waffle versions of breakfast sandwiches, whether it's like a spicy chicken waffle sandwich or I think there's like a sausage, egg, and cheese version as well.
That sounds good. I'm hungry. I don't know why you always find things that get me hungry, but you do a good job of that. All right, so that special is tomorrow, because tomorrow, I guess, is International Pancake Day, you said?
Yes, it'll be a free stack of 3 buttermilk pancakes from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and there's no minimum purchase required.
Oh, okay. That's well, I'm surprised there. I'm sure people will buy more, though.
Oh,
they know what they're doing.
Especially with the donations part.
Yeah, of course. What's number 4?
Number 4, in the morning, it'll be the blood moon, or because it's March's full moon, it's known as the worm moon.
You got to explain that. Why?
It does not explain why it's called the worm moon, but
okay, but it's going to be big and kind of look reddish, I guess.
Essentially, the Earth's shadow will go over the moon, and it'll give it a red appearance because the blue light gets scattered and the red light bends around Earth.
And people will go crazy because...
Yes, they will.
That's what happens.
Because
when it's
you just...
full moon. Lunatic.
I mean, when you have an excuse to be crazy, why not take it?
Just a reminder, that's where the word lunatic comes from. Full moon makes people crazy. They become lunatics.
I had no idea.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but that's absolutely true. There's a theory that as... where the moon is can affect the tides, right? Well, they say it can also affect the chemicals in your body. So when there's a full moon or a blood moon, it makes you kind of crazy.
It rises the tide of your craziness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's science.
It'll be from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so I will not see it. So that's good. That's fine. I'll be sleepy. I might be having some crazy dreams. That's about the extent of that. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3, starting today, Gerber has started their new annual photo contest. And they actually skipped it last year.
You know they did. That's right.
But they are searching for pictures that honor both babies and their parents who make everyday moments special.
So when Evie, 2 years ago, after we had just had Evie, there were a lot of people telling us to put her in that contest because she was a very cute baby. Like they're like, you gotta sign her up. So I didn't end up doing it, but should have done it.
This is your chance.
Yeah, well, now she's too old. Well, what is the age? Does it say? Is there an age limit?
Less than 3 years old.
Okay. So she's 2.5. So I could technically sign her up. Yeah, maybe this is our opportunity this year since we missed it.
Yes, it says you need one photo of your baby that shows an everyday moment, such as a wide-eyed reaction to the first bites of a new food, wobbly first steps, a walk in the park, or any scene that shows your baby's natural emotion and personality in a clear, expressive way.
Okay. Interesting. I might have to think about that because there's I think there's a cash prize or something. I could be wrong.
Yes. Parents and their kids have a chance to win a $10,000 prize.
I'll take it. Sorry, go ahead.
Plus $500 from Gerber Children's Wear.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. All right, I'll have to think about that. Okay, are we at number 2?
Yes, we are at number 2.
Number 2.
So there is a new Pride and Prejudice based AI of the leading man, and women are lining up to ask him questions because he is giving dating advice.
Wait, who's giving dating advice? The
leading man in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
The leading man. How? Wait, isn't that a fictional character? I'm confused.
Yes, they've taken this fictional character and put his personality and thought process into an AI chatbot that will give women dating advice.
I love that we develop just such great, sophisticated technology, and we use it to share cat videos and make a Jane Austen AI chatbot to give dating advice. This is we build cutting edge technology to do this.
Yes, it says it'll be helping women who are navigating dating apps, ghosting, and situationships. It comes just as Netflix has dropped a teaser for a new 6-part Pride and Prejudice adaptation series that comes out this fall.
Would you do this?
No.
Would you ask advice?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I mean, this is it says Regency era man who doesn't even know what dating apps are.
I think when is this? Is it already made or?
Yes, it's already made. And someone asked him what he thought of dating apps, and he said that it sounded strange to him, like a physician's instrument for measuring affection. He insisted that a character cannot simply be swiped aside. It must be endured, and that commitment that becomes timid when choice is infinite.
Okay, I think, is this free or do you have to pay for it?
It's free. It's
okay. I think we're gonna have you ask this thing.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
this is gonna have to be a bit. We're gonna have you one day on the show. We're gonna have you ask some dating advice to what's the character's name again?
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy. Okay, I've heard that before. Okay, Mr. Darcy. Okay, I'm going to look into this. So
Yes.
We're going to have it. Walker, maybe Kelsey too. Well, Kelsey's engaged, but
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll have you ask. Does it give marriage advice? Can I ask it something, or is it just dating advice?
It's just saying dating, but I guess it could be for overall relationships. It is by a company with the website upkarma.ai.
Okay, ridiculous. Well, I do know my wife likes Jane Austen books, so I could see her asking Mr. Darcy for marriage advice. Yeah. All right, what is number 1 today?
Number 1 today, we are going to be talking about my IKEA visit.
Okay, so yeah, you said you finally went to IKEA. Everyone makes a big deal. It just opened in Huntsville. It's kind of like, I think it's just called IKEA, but it's like almost like an IKEA Express, right? It's not as big as a usual IKEA.
Yes, it's not nearly as big. I believe it's about like a third of the typical size.
Which is weird. Okay, you said there was a line.
Yes,
so talk
there
about your
was.
experience.
So I got there really early because I was already out doing stuff, and I was like, well, I might as well go ahead and get a good parking spot. I got there they open at 11. I got there about 10:30, and while I was waiting, I went to the Asian market that's beside it, and when I came out, the parking lot was packed, and people were already starting to line up, and I was actually waiting on a friend to meet me there, and by the time they got there, which was around 11:15, the line was like 3-4 stores down from IKEA.
Wow. I don't know if I could wait that long for that. I don't know. You know, guys, Coleman Furniture Market's way better, but okay. So you wait in line. You actually get in though, right?
Yes, I did, and they didn't seem to be really limiting the amount of people going in, so it was pretty quick. The layout is a little confusing to me, just because.
Is this your first time ever in IKEA?
Yes, this is my first time ever.
Yeah. They give you a map, right?
Well, they have like this thing that's like a little, I don't know how to describe it because it's not really a map. It just tells you the order that different things are in, like what area of the home the things would go in, like living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom.
So you got lost in IKEA is what I'm hearing.
It is easy to, like, at least with the first couple times you go, you could definitely get lost.
And this is a smaller one. Just imagine going in a regular sized one.
Yeah, I think it's because of how the shelves are. There's not a lot of gaps. So you really have to go all the way around. Which is, I guess, a good strategy for them to...
Oh, yeah. Then that's what they do in other ones. I mean, it's basically, you hand a map and you're having to walk through it to see all the displays. You can't skip over things. It's very difficult.
I did try the meatballs.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Okay, so, and?
The meatballs themselves, I don't think are anything special, but it's the gravy that they pour on top of them that really makes it good, as well as the mashed potatoes that come with them and some lingonberry jam on the side that you can add to the meatballs. And so it's like a sweet savory thing. I really enjoyed doing that.
Now, did you get any other food or just the meatballs?
It was just the meatballs with mashed potatoes. My friend...
Was there a line for that, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah. There was a line. My friend did get a hot dog that you can apparently get mac and cheese put on top of.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds amazing.
He was a little disappointed. He said that the mac and cheese was bland. So maybe they should add a little bit more salt to it or something. But he said that the general hot dog was good. He also got fried onions on top of it.
That sounds good. Okay. I see. I would go just for the food. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I could not take my daughter, though. I could not take Evie. We would lose her. She would be gone forever.
Yeah.
She would run away, and I would never see her again because it's crazy in there. All right, Walker, I appreciate it. Good job today, and we'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Final segment of the Yaffee program today. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you've joined the show. A reminder, a new lineup today. So some of it's the usual. We do have The Vince Show coming up after this show. But after that is The Daily Controversy, which is 2 to 4 p.m. Then Earnest Financial is 4 to 5. Then Mark Levin, 5 to 8. And someone did ask on the text line what comes on instead of Chris at 8 to 10. It's going to be an hour of the best of the Dale Jackson Show and then an hour of the best of this show. So more me, yay. And yeah, more Dale, but more me. All right, let's do it now. We have the final segment of the Sunday News Show's recap. Recapping what was talked about, what happened on those Sunday news talk shows, so you can take Sunday off. You should go to church, but you can do whatever you want. I mean, whatever. It's not my business. My public service to you. You're welcome. So obviously, Iran was pretty much the big topic in all the Sunday news talk shows. Earlier on, I played some cuts of Ted Cruz praising Trump over this. Also played some cuts of Democrats bashing Trump over this. So, I mean, I don't know what you expect. I don't know if anyone really expected any different there. But go ahead if you can, Walker. Play Tom Cotton. He was on CNN's State of the Union. He's head of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Go and play Tom Cotton. Cut one for me.
Well, Dan, I think you put it well. That's coming from the Iranian leaders who are left, because we've already killed the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and dozens of other key Iranian leaders. This is the exact same kind of rhetoric, though, we heard from the supreme leader over the last couple of weeks on Twitter, and we've seen how that worked out for him. There's no doubt, though, that Iran is going to continue to target our bases in the region, our Arab friends, and Israel. That's why it was so vitally necessary that we put an end to Iran's 47-year campaign of terror and revolutionary violence once and for all. The red lines had been crossed as Iran crossing the red lines of the civilized world, going back to the 1979 hostage crisis, the bombing in the Marine barracks in Beirut, the bombing of the Khobar Towers, killing and maiming thousands of troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those are the red lines that have been crossed. President Trump has finally put his foot down and made it clear that we will no longer tolerate the revolutionary violence of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
I mean, sounds good to me. I mean, basically, we know what has happened here. It's true there wasn't an imminent threat. The imminent threat was a possible nuclear weapon that was taken out last year during Operation Midnight Hammer. But it was also true that Iran was still a threat to national security, still doing all the bad things they've been doing for years, but they're also at their weakest point possibly in years. So if we were going to take an opportunity to take out the evil regime, now was the time. And if you're president of the United States and you want to help the future not only of national security, but also of the world, and you have an opportunity with Israel to do that, that's a hard opportunity to pass up. And remember, Trump's red line was they were going to stop killing protesters, and they didn't stop. They killed possibly tens of thousands of them. So I think Trump had enough, and I was wrong. I have to admit, on Friday, so I had been thinking for a while this strike was coming. Because I didn't expect Iran to make a deal, really even try to make a good deal. But on Friday, I guess I had some hesitation. I was like, maybe Trump doesn't want to do this. Maybe he's trying to find an off-ramp. And that could still be true, but then on Friday it came out that Iran wasn't really serious in their negotiation, and Trump had said that on Friday. And the reason the strike happened on Saturday, early Saturday morning, is because that's when the Iranian leadership, including the Ayatollah, that's when they were all in place above ground in a place where they could hit it. And as I mentioned, that's an opportunity that's hard to waste. And I really do believe that in looking at history, not just now, not just the midterms or something, but looking at the big scheme of history, it's good. It's going to be a better world because the Ayatollah is now dead. That's what I think. I know they'll talk more about this in the Vince Show. Christopher Reed as well, coming on 2 to 4 p.m. He'll talk about it. Mark Levin, I'm sure, will talk about it as well. So stay tuned to WVNN throughout the day. Thanks to Walker for producing today, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.